Hi, I'm Ayse Hogan, host of Reflections with my co-host, Kelly Bentley. Today is our premiere episode, and today we're talking about what the F is Reiki? I mean, this is a question that I get all the time during consultations. Clients come in. So today you're going to find out exactly what the F is Reiki. At the end of the day, you're going to know a little bit more. First of all, though, I want to introduce Karen Clowder. She's an amazing woman who wrote the theme song to Reflections, and you get the opportunity to listen to her do it live right now.
My life is a journey, way for me to find answers to the questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should, knowing that my soul tells me it's not for my own good. Look at my reflection in the mirror, I see that it's not the person who lives inside of me. Done with all the fear and doubts, the negativity. I'm shedding all the crap right now, I'm stepping into me. Understanding that I have the strength in me opens possibilities to heal and be free. Grateful for the lessons, ready to move on. I control my destiny, the blocks and chains are gone. Now I have the power, standing on my own. Done with the distractions, I'm choosing to be strong. All the years of wearing a sad and plastic smile, no more hiding at the back, now I show up in style. Understanding that I have the strength in me opens possibilities to heal and be free. Grateful for the lessons, ready to move on. I control my destiny, the blocks and chains are gone. Understanding that I have the strength in me opens possibilities to heal and be free. Grateful for the lessons, ready to move on. I control my destiny, the blocks and chains are gone.
Today on Reflections, we have Debra Harding, Reiki Master Teacher, and Tammy Adams, Reiki Practitioner. And I as well am a Reiki practitioner, and so is Ayse.
Yep,
So,
yep, Reiki Master Teacher here too. Okay, so during my consults, that's how I started this off. So during my consults, I'm always hearing about what the F is Reiki because people don't know what it is. They don't understand, right? So it gets really into describing what it is all the time. Mm-hmm. And how do you handle that question?
It depends on the person asking me how I feel in the moment, honestly, because I still haven't got that down. I really haven't. Sometimes I say it's a conscious love. Sometimes I say it's a way of life. It's learning to open up to life force energy and channeling it through. It's who we are. Those are some of the things I say.
And you guys?
Well, one of the things that I say is it places your body into a state of parasympathetic kind of rest and relaxation state so that your body can actually do what it needs to do to stay healthy. And the one thing that I do see consistently every time somebody comes into my practice is they can come in anxious, but they all leave calm. They all leave calm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I tend to tie it into the physical aspect a little more because I find people can easily grasp onto the physicality of their bodies. And so I tie it into the energy centers of the body and say, it's working with the energy through the different centers of the body and sometimes the whole body, and here's how it correlates physically. And I tend to get a little bit more understanding out of people from that aspect. But even when I first started, I thought, I didn't even go near Reiki for the longest time because I had no idea.
When I started describing it to people at first, I was doing the textbook you know, universal life force, blah, blah, blah. And now I do it a little bit different. So now I want to make it relatable to people. That's my whole thing is to do it relatable. So I talk about, you know those reality TV shows that we watch about hoarders?
Oh yeah.
And their houses are like just full of crap until it's like completely unproductive and unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I always say, take that and just put it right here. Because you are now full of all of those energy blocks, of all the things that you've gone through in your life, all of the traumas that you've had, all the negative people that you've been in contact with, all of the sad, depressing, low vibrational thoughts that you've had, and now I don't care how clean your house is, because your house ain't clean, right? So it's just a matter of just going in and clearing the clutter,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they get it.
yeah,
I like that.
That's good.
That's really. I might borrow that.
Well, you know, I got copyright on it.
And explain to people the science of what life force energy is. Because it's chi and it's prana and it's life force energy and it all means the same thing, but it's actually a scientific thing. So I've sort of figured out how to explain it to people, what's going on in the body that creates chi and prana and life force, and they think, oh, it is real. Because some people, you know, well, that's, who knows what that is and woo-woo stuff, but yeah. So.
And I always like to preface it with, you don't have to believe in it, and you don't have to understand it, because the energy itself has a wisdom of its own, and it knows what to do. So you just need to be present and relax and just let the energy do what it needs to do.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Because energy, I mean, Reiki, I always say Reiki is just like gravity. It's like air. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does its own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that makes Reiki, I find, very individual, because we are channeling life force energy, we are doing it through our own bodies, our own personalities. So every single practitioner does it their own way. They add their little flavor to it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the key part, right? Is how it blends with other modalities.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, those slimy things that you get, those the kids play with, and you can just turn Play-Doh, like make it into anything. Like
Yeah.
Reiki is like that, right? Like you can just mold it into anything. Do you use it with any other modalities?
With Reiki?
Yeah.
I mean, oh yeah. I use it even oftentimes if people, well, I always make a person aware, but I will use it so subtly they may not even know. But with just different things. Like the massage, that's perfect
Yep.
for Reiki. I don't do massage myself, but yeah. I
With
thought-
that?
I
Do you
thought
use it
that
with
was
anything
amazing.
else?
I use it all the time. I'm using it right now.
She's raking us. That's why.
Thanks, Deb.
You're welcome.
Do you use it? And you use it.
I use it, and I use it with access bars. Access bars and Reiki go so well together.
Okay, access bars.
Access bars, you have 32 points.
Do they come in chocolate? No.
32 points in your head, and that's where you store every memory, every experience, every thought you've ever had. And so just by touching these different points, you're able to release blocked energy, the same as Reiki. And so with a lot of people, I'll rotate back and forth between the access bars and the Reiki. And how I explain it to them, it's not really like this, but it's the best, easiest way, is the Reiki puts the energy in and the access bars takes the energy out. But in both incidences, I'm the channel, and it's my job to keep that channel open so that the energy can flow and do what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you use it in other different ways too.
Oh, yes, and I also use it with animals.
I love that.
I do. I use it with animals. And the most amazing thing about animals is they're not like humans where they have all these blocks. So animals are extremely open to Reiki because Reiki can be done remotely. I don't have to be anywhere near the animal. So I've done it across the room. I've done it from city to city. And I actually sent Reiki to New Zealand. And the person on the other end confirmed that the animal reacted to it in a positive way. So it's absolutely fabulous for animals, especially because it can be done remotely. So if there's a lot of anxiety, if they've been abused, if they're in a shelter and they're difficult to adopt, Reiki is really good to bring that anxiety level down so that they're more adoptable.
Did you send it there?
Yeah, because look at him.
No, I think
I
that's
don't want
you.
anybody saying, is my dog dead? Another way to use it is I used it a few times now, and I've seen the difference. Well, I've heard the difference in mothers is with their unborn children.
Oh, yes.
Because, and especially towards the end of the third trimester, because, you know, if the mom's been stressed out, if she's a hoarder of different things, the baby's getting that too.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's just clearing that baby so that it's able to come into this world free.
That's an amazing point. I have encountered a couple clients at this point who had issues that, you know, couldn't figure out what the issues were, even looking for the root cause. Turns out it was a result of what was happening with the parents while they were in the womb, different psychological states the mother was in, and everything really has an impact. And these people are well into their 40s now. Like, that's an excellent...
I don't think that people really realize, like, how amazing... I mean, it's all energy. Like, everything is energy, and it flows through all of us. And, of course, it's going to go into the baby. Like, of course it is.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we don't think about that. You know, we try and eat right. We try and, well, not me, I don't have any kids, but when we do, you know, they try to eat right, take their vitamins, blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, they could be in a negative relationship or having stress with their parents, you know, the in-laws, whatever. And now all of that is in the child.
Reiki comes natural to children.
It does. It's the same
It
as
does.
animals. They don't have those same barriers.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
I had a parent bring in her 2 kids, and it was her Reiki session, and she brought her 2 kids, surprise, to me, and she said, would you do it for my children? So I said, sure. So I took the little boy in, and he's, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years old. So he's laying on the table, and I'm thinking, how am I going to make this interesting for him? So I said, where are we? You know, you pick a place. We're going to go into your imagination now, and you pick a place. So I did hypno-Reiki with him. I did it with the hypnosis. And I said, you tell me where you are. So he says, I want to go to the park. I go to this park. I was like, okay. So he just lays down. And he goes, I want you to do this twirly thing. Because his mom told him about the twirly things. And that's the chakras.
Yes.
I want you to fix my twirly things. And I said, okay. So he's laying on the table. And he's pretending to be all cuddled up, sleeping like this. And I started talking about him being in the park and swinging on the swings. And then I brought out these balls. So every ball being a color of the chakra, and he was picking up the balls like with his hands, so not just in his mind, and you know, putting them in to the various parts of his body.
That's awesome.
Right? So it was so cool. And when his sister came in, I said, where are we today? She goes, I like this boy at school. And I said, really? She's about 8 too. And I said, and where are you guys? She goes, at the beach. So I said, okay, so you're playing at the beach, blah, blah, blah. And then, what's he giving you? She goes, candy. I said, well, you take that purple candy.
Perfect.
And you put it in your mouth, and it's all the different colors of the chakras again, but with the candy. And the kids loved it, and it's fast. Like, it's 10 minutes. I mean, you're not going to give a child, first of all, they're not messed up. So, I mean, you're not going to give a child hours and hours of Reiki or an hour of Reiki or half an hour. 10 minutes is sufficient. It's just like giving it to him. Like, it's not a long thing.
Yeah.
But I think you touched on another important part is when I have a parent come in, they're worried about, you know, what's this going to do to my child? And, you know, just reassuring them that it's life force energy. It's not programmed to do anything negative. It can only do positive.
There's no side effects.
There's no side effects. And it works with, you know, conventional medicine as well as it does with all the alternative modalities. It's just we're so programmed with polarities that it's either good or bad. So if you buy into that, then you go on the good side, right? It can't do anything negative.
And you made a good point there with the conventional medicine, because it actually makes your medication work better.
It does. Yeah. It does.
You know, I've done it in
amazing.
hospitals with people with cancer. And she calls me, this one woman called me in to come in often just to help her sleep because she just had radiation or chemotherapy rather. And she was going through a lot of pain, so I just went in there and did maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and she fell into a deep sleep. And that just, exactly what you said, that helped her. It was great.
It's really great with cancer patients. Really good. And good with plants. Like,
It is
plant
so
that's
good with
almost
plants.
Oh, I have
dying.
to remember that.
I had a professor once, and it was fascinating. He brought in a plant of daisies. Not a vase, but an actual planted thing of daisies. And he put them on my desk. I was just sitting in the right spot, and they looked horrible. I was thinking, you know, there's no hope for these daisies. There's just none. And he was giving the daisies Reiki, and I swear by the end of that day, it was a long day, but by the end of that day, there was already life. It was fascinating. It was really neat to see.
I've done it on my car.
Really?
You can
Yes.
give anything energy.
Well, I assume so, but wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would never even think.
Wasn't starting. And then, I thought, okay, I have to go somewhere. And I just sat there and I just tuned in. And in a few minutes, it started.
Okay, and I really think that that's what we really need to talk about here is how do we do Reiki? Right? So some people do it by laying on of the hands. I think a lot of times, too, once you turn into a master and you're using it in the way that you want, I don't quite do it in the Usui method anymore. I've turned it into something else. But how it actually works and what chakras we're using and and stuff. So I think that that's really interesting for people too, is how are we, like, why can we channel the energy?
Right.
Well-
And anybody can.
Yes.
It's just a matter of knowing.
Well, you said you turned it into something. I feel it turned into something, and you just went with it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I mean, we just learn to open up our energy field and tune into all of life. We understand that everything's living, everything's energy, so we just tune in and let it flow through us and let it do what it wants to do. So that's why we have to learn to be clear. We meditate. We get out of our own way and just let it do its thing.
And that's just it. We're just funnels.
And everything's vibration, like the car. If you think about, because I'm sure some people are thinking, well, a car, it's not even alive. But everything is energy and vibration. Every single thing in the world is made up, if you go right down to the atoms, of energy and vibration. So, yeah.
Well, so I'm going to bring up something that may be a little controversial. But with the car,
Yes?
people might say, yeah, right, okay, that happened. But it could be several ways it happened. Because I do Reiki so often, I tuned in. Maybe I just knew that it was going to start and it helped me relax. And it just sort of happened that way. I was tuned into the energy. You know what I mean? Instead of freaking out.
Right.
So you could see it both ways, I think.
Yeah.
I'm seeing as a magic of Reiki because I've seen it like for 13 years. I've seen the magic of Reiki.
Yeah.
So I'll see it that way. But for other people, we could say, oh, she was just tuning into the energy and she knew it was going to start anyway. That's another way.
No, I mean, it does. It works great. I remember one time, and I don't even know if it was the Reiki that I was doing, but I was driving home, and I'd been sort of like lost, and I used to go to Toronto and back every single day, and I'm driving home, and the car was going to go out of gas. Like, I know it. Like, you know how it has the tells you how many miles or how many kilometers are left? And I was at zero for like a long time, and I'm on the highway coming home, and I'm like, I'm going to get stuck here, and it's pouring rain, and, I'm like, this is not good. So I remembered my Reiki master saying to me, just send it energy, right? So I started doing it, and I'm thinking, how do I create gas? Like, this is weird. So I'm just like, that's what I'm thinking, just get me there. Like, just get me there, right? And I'm just like putting in all the energy that I can, and you could hear it. Like, I pulled into the gas station to like, put. Like, I just made it. And I was at Appleby, and they had some sort of construction or something going off, so I couldn't get off, and I had to take the next exit off.
Oh.
And I didn't even know if there was a gas station there. And I'm like, that feeling of like, oh my God. So I just like, I got there, and it ran out of gas. And thank God it's like, it's standard. I was able to like, get it in there. But was it Reiki? Was it energy? Was it me? Or was it lucky? I don't know. I just like to think that somehow somebody was like watching me. So
Yeah. And I've seen Reiki work on a lot of people, okay, maybe not a lot, but at least a handful of people that had no belief in it whatsoever. They just not knowing about it and so unsure, and I've seen it work. And they don't even have to, like was mentioned earlier, they don't even have to believe in it or anything.
And that's the beauty of it, because with a lot of modalities, they have to buy in.
Yeah.
With hypnosis, they got to buy in. They got to want it.
Right.
Right? They
Yeah.
have to be part of their own healing.
Yeah.
But with Reiki, you just got to say okay. They have to only just give us permission.
Yeah.
And then they can be as skeptical as they want to be. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And I'd like to go back to that. If I've got my hands right on someone, either I'm feeling heat or they're feeling heat or we're both feeling heat. But something else that happens is, depending on how the energy's moving, I can be thrown right off balance and I can start leaning, and I have to brace my feet in order to work with the energy because it's flowing so strong. But what really helped me when I was new, and you're still in that, am I really doing this? When you do it distance-wise, especially with the animals, you get all kinds of sensations in your hands. So there can be a pressure, there can be a vibration. But, you know, I explain it to my kids, like it's kind of like the lightsabers in Star Wars, right? I kind of feel like I'm doing this, and it's kind of like Spider-Man. It's just shooting out, you know? Exactly. It's like, right? But you actually feel the sensation in your hand. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
And you know, but the one thing that I do want to say is that everybody's energy is very different. So I always thought I was abnormal. Well, I kind of am, but I always thought I was abnormal because my energy is cold.
Yeah.
So I, where everybody else is hot, when I'm being treated or when I'm treating others, they may feel it warm, but I feel a blizzard going on around my body. So I get very cold, and if I'm being treated, I actually turn into a block of ice.
Yeah.
And you could throw on 1,000 blankets on me, it doesn't matter. I'm like frozen from the inside out.
I get the same.
So
Yeah.
I just think, and I thought like, oh my God, what does that mean? I have cold energy? Am I the devil? Like, what does that mean? So it took me a while to understand that it is just what it is.
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. I get freezing too. 1,000,000 blankets, and as soon as the Reiki gets going, I'm absolutely freezing.
And I remember I was doing a Reiki mawashi. Have you guys ever done, you know, the Reiki circle holding hands? And so I was like accepting from this hand and giving from this hand. And I was holding on to my girlfriend's hand, like one of my friend's hands. And she goes, oh my God, is that you? You could feel like a blizzard, like a snowstorm going between our fingers. And I was like, yeah, shh, quiet. It's me, don't say anything. So it's just like, you know, everybody's different and there's no right or wrong.
No right or wrong.
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can universal energy be wrong?
Exactly.
Right? It just flows and it does its thing. And so we have the benefit of learning how to open up and allowing it to flow.
Yeah.
You know?
It's amazing.
And anybody can do this on
Anybody.
themselves. Everyone.
When I first found out about Reiki, someone surprised me and brought me to a class. I had never even heard of it. This is in 1991. And when I got into the class, it was just so beautiful, all the things I'm learning. I'm like, oh my God, does everybody know about this? You know, I just thought it was the most amazing thing. Everyone should know about this. It's simple, it's natural, you know, and I really do think that people do it before they even take a class. And when they come to the class, they start understanding, oh, I've been doing that all along. This is natural to me. You know, it really is. We just need to learn.
It's amazing. I mean, Reiki's literally, I mean, I will say literally, saved my life. Because I was in a time in my life where I'd hit the bottom through everything that I'd gone through in my life. And I woke up one morning and I didn't want to wake up any more mornings. So I'd gone to Turkey and to see my family. And my cousin, who I'd met for the first time, and she's the same age as me, is a Reiki master out there, and she treats only terminal cancer patients. So she took one look at me and she goes, I want to attune you to Reiki. So she did level 1 and level 2 attunement on me. And I'm like, yeah, do whatever you want. Like, I don't care. So she did it, and I felt like the next morning something changed in me. Because my plan was I was going to do this family trip, and then I don't know what I was going to do. So something changed in me. And we didn't have time to do the courses and the learnings. So when I came back, I found a Reiki master here, and I did 1 and 2 again and got all the learnings that I needed to do with it. But literally, it saved my life. So I know that when I take clients in and they're in a bad place, the first thing I say is, whether it's with me or with someone I know, I've talked about, even like I said, that there's a wonderful woman who lives down the street from me, you need to do this and consider taking even one so you can heal yourself, so that you can work on yourself. So it's going to add to what we're doing together. It's going to add to it.
And I did I've read a lot about how, and experienced, at least within myself, I'm not sure if you all have the same experience, but your own energy is so much more powerful used on yourself.
Yeah.
Like there's so much we can do for others with our energy, or being a conduit for their energy as well. But to practice Reiki on yourself is, in my opinion, the most powerful way to receive it.
And that's why the Hypno Reiki works so well.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you include them in the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're working with their energy, healing themselves.
And I think it's important too to know that you'll have a different experience, like you say, if you go to you or me or you, but you'll also have a different experience if you've gone to you a second time or a third time or a fourth time, because every session addresses something different. And so I always say to the people who come to me, you know, you may not experience the same thing you experienced last time, because the energy is going to be working on something different today. Because I don't want to set them up for that. Let's say they had that really wow experience, right? And then they come in the next time, and while the energy is still working, the experience itself was much more subtle. And I want to prepare them for that so that they don't leave not asking and thinking, oh, it didn't work this time. Because it's always working.
It's always working, and it works in different ways. I just
Yeah.
had a client that came in, and I'm sure you guys have all experienced this, and I've had a client that came in. When she left, she was fine. She went in the next day, she was not in a good place. She was actually in a very bad place. And I think that, I mean, I don't think I know, she started to detox energetically. Like we had, we're starting to clear those blockages, and it's just like doing a regular detox that we all know about doing, and how we can get headaches and feeling crappy and stuff. The same thing can happen energetically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, again, you know, I say to the people who come to me, you know, use your intuition and know when to come back. But if I get a call like that, I'll say, you know, in this particular case, I suggest you come back again, you know, because you're shifting and you're moving things. And so now's the time, while it's moving, to keep going. So where in most cases I'll say, you know, just come back when you're ready. In that particular case, I would say.
Yeah. And she called me like 3 days after she'd had some incidents, and I was like, no, don't ever do that again.
No.
If I have to see you at 9 o'clock at night, that's the beauty of having a home clinic. It's
Yes.
like,
Yes.
get you in here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it will continue working. I'm not sure if
Yes.
many people realize that. Yeah, after the treatment, it will still be shifting and moving for however long it would take in that specific person.
And even when you
Absolutely.
get attuned to Reiki, we've all heard about the 21 day, right?
Yes.
So when my cousin attuned me, she also attuned my sister. I had a great reaction. My sister, however, went through the 21 day detox. She was miserable for weeks. She felt good after,
Yeah.
but she was miserable for weeks. And I was looking it up online, like, how come she's feeling bad when I feel good? Like, I don't understand this. And then I found out about the detoxing.
And the same thing happens with animals as well, especially if they've had a very severe trauma and they go through a Reiki session. You will find that they might go through that, what is it called, healing crisis? That's what it's called. You'll see them, they'll actually cry and whine and be stressed and whatever, and that may happen for a couple days, and then all of a sudden the transformation takes place because they've detoxed all that emotional release, and now they're okay, you know, so...
Well, I think we're coming to the end of our first show, and I hope everybody understands more about Reiki.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, a little bit more about WTF is Reiki.
WTF is Reiki.
Could talk forever about Reiki.
Yeah, and I would really like it if you have any more questions, if you're interested in how to find a Reiki master in your area. We can certainly guide you in how to look for that. Send in your comments, any questions that you might have, any triggers we might have fired up for you, and you have some more questions that you'd like answers to. There's 4 people here that can answer you. So please write in, and I'd like to thank our sponsors for the show and our guests today and us. And grateful for Source, and thank you so much for coming.